Hi guys, Tech Boy here with another video. I will start off by saying I do apologise for the long videos that I have uploaded recently, but I thought I'd make it up to you and make a very quick one while answering the key question. Is ebooks the future? Quite simply, I've just gone through high school and all that, and all these textbooks we've got to have and all that, they're all basically going to be outdated and all that. And before we know it, everybody's probably going to have tablets or netbooks and ebooks and all that on them. So the key question is ebooks the way to go, or should education just stick with textbooks? The main areas that this presentation is going to go over is the factors of portability, cost, interactivity, and overall my final verdict. So here we go, portability. There's the weight. Textbooks weigh around 300 to 700 grams. It depends on the textbook itself, but an ebook weighs nothing because you get the device and then you downloaded stuff onto the hard drive that's already in the ebook reading device, and it obviously doesn't take up any space, so there's no worry about that at all. The only substitute you would have is if you had like an iPad 4th generation, for example, that weighs roughly 657 grams as an average, as opposed to having one textbook that weighs about 700 grams. But if you carry more than one textbook, obviously, this is beneficial. The graph on here basically describes from the left to right is if you've got an extra textbook, so you got one book, then two books, and three books, so on, and then going up is the weight of the books itself. You see, the iPad is for an ebook weight, it's a pure blue straight line across the screen, basically because it doesn't add any weight to it every book you add. It's just a device that you carry on around with you the whole time. Whereas textbooks, if you've got to carry more and more with you, it's just going to very quickly go up. Now, many of you, nobody will probably say, "Why you don't carry around 8 books at once? What is this lot of crap?" Well, you're carrying it on your back and all that, and weight on your shoulders. Not good for you. It's just another factor I thought I'd put out there. Durability. Textbooks, over many years, they're dog-eared, they're ripped and bent pages, and some even have highlighted content all over it. So when you go to sell them, they can't be sold, or they can't be sold for very much, because they're all highlighted and wrecked and everything, like the photo in there. Whereas ebook devices, you might get scratch, maybe two, on a device like an iPad there, which is nothing, and that generally happens over wear and tear. Now, the cost. Cost of textbooks, they range from $15 all the way up to $85. $15 is basically like an English novel, whereas most textbooks these days start at really a minimum of $60 in Australia. Stationery is probably another $100 per year on top of textbooks, but ebooks would mean on an iPad that you could just type your notes and all of that, whereas with a textbook you're going to have to write all your notes and all that because you haven't got anywhere to put them unless you had a separate computer, but then you got to carry that around with your textbook, so then it's a bit whereas cost of ebooks in Australia is $20 or less, because you're basically paying for the content. There's no printing costs or delivery costs or anything like that, so it's cheaper for the publishers to be able to distribute their content. And then this graph basically describes the cost of material for books, excluding stationery and all that, over your first year. So if you look at the red bar at the top, number one is basically an iPad with by itself with one book. You go along the line, that's more and more books you're adding on. Whereas textbooks, you see, it's a very steep steep rate that it goes up if they're all $70 each, for example, and eBooks are all $20 each, but it's a lot lower because you're not paying for a device in the first place. Whereas in the second year, it's basically the complete opposite. eBooks are a lot cheaper because you're basically just paying for the content itself at $20 a piece, let's say again, because you've already bought the device in year one. You don't need to re-buy another device to show the content on. You just need to purchase or download the content from the relevant bookstore downloadable place. Whereas textbooks, it's basically the same cost as it was last year. So you do the maths. Textbooks in every year is $490. So over 2 years, that's $980. eBooks, if you buy an iPad basic model and all the textbooks on it, for it, that's $640. Whereas in the second year, that's probably only going to be $140, for example. You add that up, that's $780. So therefore, by your second year, you're already starting to save money, regardless of how many books you need to buy. But from that point onwards, you're going to save even more and more and more money. Because in this example, you would save another $350 every year, just by comparison. But it all comes down to how many books you buy in that, but it's the same results every time. Current editions and reselling. When you go to resell a textbook, if you bought it originally for $75, you'd be lucky to get back 45-ish for it, which would be roughly 2/3 of the original cost. So really, the books cost you $30. But the chances of selling the book, they can vary between 0 and 70%. I don't know why I made that. I just put that there. But the point I was going to make is that with maths textbooks, they seem to be updated every single year. And then I always argue it by saying maths is maths. It will never change. Since when will 1 plus 1 equal window? It's 2. Get it in your thick skull. And there's a lot of benefits to ebooks as well, because you can always keep them up to date, and by doing that you just download any changes to make sure you got the relevant content up to date. It's good to on-sell, but you can't on-sell ebooks. But that doesn't matter because they're a lot cheaper. They're a lot cheaper than what it would have been if you had paid for the book and on-sold it. And it saves all that time and effort and all of that. And there is no paper or printing at all, so it's cheaper for the publishers to do it. Interactivity. Basically, ebooks are a lot more interactive than a textbook, because a textbook is just printed pages. Students can easily get bored. No wonder teenagers lose interest very quickly. Whereas interactive content on the iPad with iBooks 2.0, there's features in it including highlighting, so you can highlight the keywords and all that so you can look back at it. And you can also make notes with those highlighters to expand on what you said. So if you went through the textbook in class and the teacher's making extra notes, you can type those notes there. So then when you go back to revise for the test later on, all those notes will be there. And also study cards, they can also take key words and stuff from thing, and then you don't have to make paper cards or anything. It will automatically make that for you. And then a major thing that I find would be most beneficial is searchable stuff. So you just type in a word and it will automatically search through the whole book. So if you type in binomial or something, it will find every key term where it says binomial in the maths book for you, so you don't have to swipe through every single page. And it also basically replaces the index and all that. So to put it simple, my verdict is ebooks are definitely the future. Many are going to argue that textbooks have been useful resources for such a long time. What's the point changing now? But I would argue that and say that when ebooks are in use everywhere, and everybody is going to then ask, how did we live all those years? I would simply respond by saying the advancements in technology over the past decades have made this possible. So thank you very much for watching. Your question of the day is, do you prefer to use textbooks or ebooks? Why? Do you prefer ebooks because they're more interactive, they're more engaging stuff, or do you personally prefer to use like textbooks because they're more tangible and hands-on? So you can leave a comment in the section down below, and please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching.